when I was leaving my job prior to starting with PRPR, and I told the former colleagues that I was leaving to join a company called PRPR. One of them says, "You're going to go do Puerto Rican public relations?" And so I said, I had to explain. Anyways, thank you very much. As Mark said, I am the author of Sell Yourself Without Saying a Word, the expert's guide to placing articles in print and online. And PRPR, being an agency that practices what it preaches, we place our own articles in print and online just as we do for our clients. And so I have the outline of an article I am about ready to pitch out to editors. So I thought I'd run it by you first, get a little feedback, see what you think of it. Now, one of the things that editors really like as far as a format of articles go, they love things like 7 myths, 6 ways, 5 steps, but they also like acronyms. They love to spell out words. So I've come up with a good acronym for articles. So let's run through this, if I may. A is for the audience you're targeting. The great Alan Weiss. Everybody know Alan Weiss, who he is? He's one that preaches what we practice. Alan says it's more important to be in front of 500 people who can hire you than it is 50,000 people that aren't your audience. So by placing an article into a trade or industry or association magazine, even though that subscription may only be 600 people, rather than, you know, Entrepreneur Magazine or Fast Company or Forbes, and they're all sweet and sexy and sound great, you may only be in a magazine with 600 people, but if those 600 people are hospital CEOs and that's your target market, that's a better place to be than in the Wall Street Journal where your name may not be read. So A is for the audience you're targeting. R is for the readership of decision makers. Trade, industry, and association magazines are read cover to cover every month by owners, executives, entrepreneurs, C-suite level decision makers. Because they land on their desk, they come into their inbox, in their emails, their e-zines, their newsletters. They're also read by meeting planners and marketing directors, people that are planning conferences and conventions. They know that if you're in that trade magazine, you are a qualified speaker to be at their next convention. Oh, T. T is for the tense you use is you. When you're writing the article, you don't want to say, I did this, I solved this problem, I did this so well. You want to use the you tense. You may be having this problem. Here's how you can solve it. You may be in this situation. Here's how you can make it better. You want the reader to see themselves in the article. You want them to buy into it. They're much more likely to take the action step at the end. And the editor's going to say, if it's I, buy an ad if you want to brag about yourself. The editors are looking for content. I is for the instant stamp of endorsement and credibility. By being in the magazine, by being part of the content of the magazine, it's an instant stamp of endorsement and credibility. C is for the content you're utilizing. There's no sense in recreating the wheel. Use your blogs, use your book chapters, use your workshop material, use your keynotes. Don't go out and feel like you have to create something new. Use the content you already have. L is for leveraging the leverage over your competition. By being in the magazine, you're gonna stand out. You're gonna be above your competition. E is for the excitement when the meeting planners call. When those meeting planners call you and say, hey, I read your article in our trade magazine and in our newsletter. I want you to be at our next convention. Excuse me. And S is for your search engine optimization, the SEO. Everything is online these days. Even when it's in print, it's got that digital archive. So by having your name online and in print or online and your URL at the end of the article, having all that point back to your website, it's going to put your website right at the top of the search engines, because you're going to have all of these association and industry websites pointing back to yours. So that's an acronym that spells out articles, which is what you should be placing every day. Thank you.